if you catch a barrel while shore jigging and cracking a can, you can have my spot on this podcast.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Deep Drop. Oh, I am still very full and a wee bit hungover from what was a pretty solid Christmas couple of days sessions. Ads, how you travelling, mate?
Yeah, a little bit the same. It was a great couple of days, but I'm glad they're over for one reason. Because the holidays officially start.
Oh, this is the exciting time now because, as we said in the Christmas episode last week, it's hectic, man. It's a tense time. But now, this is where the fun begins. A lot of people out there have a couple of weeks off, right? So this is the time we can unwind a little bit, but it's also the time to get stuck into some fishing now, whether it's locally or you're heading away on a holiday or you're just getting away for a few days here and there. Doesn't matter. Just enjoy it, soak it up. And Ads, this episode is something a little bit different. It's a bit of a special one because we're all in wind down mode, but we're not going to let you fully relax. We've got some challenges, haven't we?
Yeah, we have got some challenges. And Luke, you and I caught up before this show and thought, what can we throw out there? I guess the point, and Luke, you and I are going to participate in this as well.
Right.
So the point of this little special, Luke, is we're going to throw a few scenarios out there and we want people to send in their submissions to this little checklist, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, nice. A checklist. It's a challenge checklist, really, isn't it?
It is. We're going to throw a few ideas out there and a few different scenarios.
All right.
And we want our listeners to get on Instagram and send through their photos of these little scenarios that we're going to throw your way.
So the best way to do it, jump on Instagram, The Deep Drop. You'll see the logo, the bright green logo. Slide on into our DMs, or you can post it on your own channels and tag us in it. Either way, it's going to be fun. Let's dive into it. Rightio, Adam. So our fishing challenge checklist number one. The first one is, I'm going to throw back to episode 1, Ads. Right off the top, when we first launched this podcast, we spoke about what defines a barrel tuna. Now, the challenge that I'm throwing out there for this holiday period is to all our listeners, well, not all of them, but whoever wants to partake, is catch yourself a barrel tuna. Easier said than done.
Yeah, and well, we established early, right from the conception of this podcast, that a barrel is 100 kilos. So don't send us a 96. Don't send us a 98.
We don't want near
misses. It's not a barrel.
No,
it's not a barrel.
So,
no.
And look, the other reason we're saying this is the last couple of years, this is the time. There's some great opportunity. We understand that it's not as simple as just flicking a line out. So whether you go out with a mate, you go out on a charter, whatever it is you do, there is opportunity for you to catch the fish of a lifetime. But if it's 99, we don't want to hear about it.
Don't want to hear about it. And listen, please stop me if I'm being silly, Luke. I'm happy to open this up to yellowfin tuna as well.
Wow. Yes.
Because then that way it gives us this really broad scope of everywhere people will be holidaying. So whether they're staying local and fishing out of Port Phillip or Western Port Heads, whether they're going west to Portland and Port Fairy, or even further to Port Macdonald in South Australia, or they're going the other way through Eden, Merimbula, Narooma. So there's a chance for... I know it's a bit of a, big boat specialist sport. I highly doubt that you'll see me with a 100 kilo tuna, just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see the photos, but it has to be 100.
All right. So there it is. So barrel tuna is the first one on the checklist. Secondly, also in episode 1, we spoke about micro jigging ads and why hasn't it taken off in Victoria. The challenge from us here at the Deep Drop is to get out and have a go at micro jigging and basically just have a bit of a crack and let us know how you go.
Yep, I am going to be micro-jigging like a maniac because I want this podcast, so not just me, not just you, Luke, but all of our listeners, I want this podcast to start the micro-jigging revolution in Victoria. For anyone listening in New South Wales or anywhere else for that matter, please flood us with your photos because us dumbass Victorians need to be taught how to catch fish on really small pieces of lead. So, I'm willing to learn something.
But guess what? This, in my mind, is one of the best times of year to do it. So if there's a time to have a crack, now it is. It's in Victoria. I reckon we'll see a bit of action out of this one. And we want to. So again, if you're out there, number 2 on the checklist, do some micro jigging. Let us know how you go. Number 3, and in episode 3, actually, we asked the question what the acceptable time was to crack the first can on a fishing trip. So the challenge in the checklist is, I suppose, to crack that can and send it through and tell us what time it is.
We want selfies with open tinnies at 6:30 a.m., 7 a.m. You know, if you're happy to post one from a 4:30 p.m. beer, you will get mocked to the point where you'll never drink again on this podcast. We want to see everyone with their tinnies out and celebrating an early can.
Yeah.
On the fishing grounds this holidays.
But do it responsibly. No, but yeah, absolutely. Why not? Let's have a bit. We're all in wind down mode. We're relaxed. You might be on a riverbank fishing for cod with worms. Awesome.
Yep.
Crack that can. Enjoy yourself.
Exactly.
You've earned the
Enjoy
break.
that can.
You enjoy that can. All right. There it is. So number 3, cracking a can. Number 4, in episode 4, we asked if land-based fishing is even good. And we got some solid feedback on this. And look, the fact of the matter is it is good. Of course it's good. It's great. And again, a great time of year right now. So let's get out there. We want to see you land-based fishing. We want to see you getting your feet muddy, your feet wet, whatever it is, on a jetty, on a pier, on some rocks, on the beach. Get out there. Do some land-based fishing and let us know. Show us some pics.
Luke, a question for you. Does shore jigging count in the micro jigging question?
Wow, you could hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Not only could you knock off land-based fishing and micro jigging in one thing, if you crack a can, you've knocked off 3 of the things on the checklist in one image.
Yeah, you almost clocked the entire checklist.
Yeah. And if you catch a
off
barrel,
one image, if you catch a barrel while shore jigging and cracking a can,
you win everything.
And what was it? And you can have my spot on this podcast.
That is ultimate.
I'll hang them up.
Yeah.
I'll hang them up.
I don't think we'll continue with the podcast. I think that we've just won at life, or that person has.
He's completely clocked this whole game.
God, that's unbelievable. Okay, so let's recap the first section of our challenge checklist, the deep drop challenge checklist. Number 1, barrel tuna. Number 2, do some micro jigging. Number 3, crack a can. Let us know what time it is. Number 4, land-based fishing. So get out there on foot, do some fishing. And we want to see it. Like we said, we'd love to share it with the rest of the world. So slide on into our DMs with your photos and a bit of a detail about what you've done and where. Or just tag us. Tag the Deep Drop in your Instagram posts and, mate, it would be awesome. So there's your first challenge. All right, Ad, you didn't think I'd leave it there, did you, my friend?
No, I was hoping not, because I was having fun through those first 4
I'm glad you were.
questions or checklist items.
That's just challenge 1, but no, I'm bringing in challenge 2. That's right. There is a second checklist challenge here from the Deep Drop that goes out to all you legends that have followed along so far in this journey. And Adam, we're a part of it. We're going to have a crack as well, by the way. You're not sitting back just watching the photos come through. You are getting out there yourself.
I will be sending photos of plenty of early cans.
All right, yeah. That one I'm confident you'll do well in. Not sure about the rest of them.
No.
Okay, so the Deep Drop Challenge checklist, number 2 for the episode, and we're kicking off. Now, in episode 7, Ads, we were joined by Andrew Hart, who brought his questions to the table, which we loved. It was a lot of fun. Had a few red wines, I think, that night collectively, but it was a lot of fun. One of his questions that he brought to us was, are kingfish really dirty fighters? it was an interesting one. It's an angle I hadn't really thought of too much about. We know they're great fighters, but are they really dirty? So the first part of this checklist is we want you to get out there and get amongst the kingfish for starters, and then give us some feedback. Were they toweling you up in the reef? Were they doing you dirty? Mate, this is the prime time to target kingfish in Victoria, in South Australia, and certainly up in New South Wales. There's some great spots to target kingies at this time of year. So for the first one, it is to catch a kingfish and let us know if it did you dirty.
Yeah, and I want to see proof of the dirtiness. I want to see frayed leaders. I want to see jigs bent in half. I want to see bruised heads on kingfish because you did manage to land them, but they've tried to knock themselves out. All the things we discussed with Andrew Hart, I want proof of everything. And you're right, Luke. Now is kingfish time in Victoria as we speak. Tasmania also have quite a handy kingfish fishery down there too. So we might have to check in with Hardy at some point and see what's going on down there.
I was going to say the only problem about getting down there is you need a passport, I think, don't you? Or
yeah,
it's international waters. Does it count?
Plus you want to plus you want to enjoy your holidays. So
no, that's a lie. We love Tassie, and we're going to be getting down there soon. We're going to take the deep drop down to Tassie. I haven't told you that, Adam, but that's going to happen. Now, second part of this challenge is episode 8. We spoke about why we're not using live baits for snapper more. Well, it jumped out at me, this one, Adam, because this is also, again, to sound like a broken record, a great time of year to collect live baits. There's yakkers, there's slimies, we know there's squid everywhere, but it's also a really good time to target snapper, whether you're offshore or inshore, or in the bays. So the second part of this challenge is to live bait and catch a snapper with a livey. Am I asking too much?
No, because this goes in the same category as the micro jigging thing.
Yes.
Let's make this a thing.
Yeah.
Land-based fishers can do it. Research slide baiting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have a look. Perfect for some of those rock platforms on the peninsula. If you're fishing on, maybe you're down at Cape Shank. Give it a crack. Like it's all things that can be done land based as well. Like this live baiting for snapper, like as just as many snapper get caught land based as what we see from boats. So you can do it, but look, I've got to see this live baiting thing take off. I believe in it so much. I believe that it's a thing.
Yeah.
That would be ultra viable, especially when the fishing's a little bit tough and the water will be peaking soon. It'll be peaking in water temperature. Those fish will be mooching down deep. They can get hard to catch. There'll be fish still sitting offshore. So this is not a small part of the fishery. I really want to see this happen.
Can I just throw my 2 cents in? Just if anyone is really considering it but unsure, there's lots of people who are across this, which is great, and I hope they really get amongst it. But for the people who are a bit unsure, I actually think right now and for the next few weeks, while it's nice and warm, offshore is almost the go. Offshore is almost the go for some of the really nice snapper that will absolutely crunch a live bait if it's sent down. So just saying, I'm going to have a crack. Ads, you're coming with?
Yep, and if you know what, if you accidentally hook a kingfish offshore on your live bait for snapper, you're just delving into multiple checklists because you can tell us how dirty the fight was, you can high five your mate, crack a can, like you can do everything.
So much. All right. Part 3 of the second challenge is we spoke in episode 9 about have squid jigs gone too far, and I think the premise around that was that I was getting a bit frustrated, Adam. You talked me out of it, which was great, but there's so many jigs on the market, there's so many colours, there's so many price points. But why I wanted to add it to this challenge is I want people to step out of their comfort zone a little bit. We all know what we're comfortable with colours and sizes and styles, and that's certainly what you should go to. But what I'm saying for this challenge, go to something that you would be the last colour you'd choose, because you might, in fact, you will surprise yourself.
Yep. Walk into the local tackle shop with that voucher that you got, or if you're exchanging it over for a couple of jigs that were maybe, actually, that's probably the best. Keep the shit ones. Take the good jigs back into the shop. Swap them over for some ones that you would not touch with your mate's fishing rod.
Razorbacks? I still haven't worked out if they're still around. But just be careful because there are 7,000 points and jagged edges on them.
you might be removing that squid jig from your hand before you leave the tackle shop. Oh. But find a colour or a jig that looks funky that you would never use, and show us the photo of the jig, and then also with a calamari hanging off it.
You know what I just realised? You could then use that squid to live bait a snapper. See, these are all intertwining ads.
That's right. Or accidentally catch a king. Oh
my God. Okay, all right.
It's too good.
So the last one for this second challenge, and I'm excited about this one because I think there is so many opportunities for this. We spoke recently in episode 10 about prawn style lures and why Victoria doesn't seem to be the only state that froths on them and gets so excited. We know basically the rest of the country go nuts for them. We know they're popular to some degree here, but we feel like we were kind of saying they should be more popular. I mean, there's no reason why they shouldn't. They will work. So the last part of this challenge is to use some prawn style lures and catch a fish. Simple.
And throw them everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and tick this one off in style. I want to get a good fish on a prawn style plastic. They have to work. I haven't put enough time into using them and trying to master the art of using a prawn style lure. So I just think this is a nice handy one that no matter where you live or where you holiday, you're going to be able to tick this one off.
And this covers everything, literally everything, doesn't it? Because the people heading sort of inland and chase some yallas and cod and redfin,
that's right.
Whatever it is, there's certain sizes that'll work for everything. People heading east to some of those really beautiful estuaries, obviously bream, flatties, perch, all that stuff just gobbles them up. But
staying home, snapper in the bay,
the bays, and even offshore, if you can fish some of those reef and rubble grounds that hold a real mix of species, they'll dominate out there too. So we want to see the prawn lures in action and some of your success stories. Once again, the Deep Drop Instagram page is the place to do it. Jump into our messages. Let us know with a bit of a description and a photo. Or if you just want to post it yourself, tag us in it. Mate, we love it all. It's great. We're so excited about this. So let's recap this last challenge, ads. Kingfish, catch one. Catch a snapper on live bait. Squid jigs, step out of your comfort zone. Get something that you wouldn't normally use and dominate. And finally, prawn style lures. Get some prawn style lures and have a crack.
Yep. I reckon we'll be surprised by a few of the success rate on some of these challenges, like by getting people to try something they maybe wouldn't.
Keep in mind the challenges we're setting here aren't ridiculous. Like these are very, very doable because of the time of year we're in. So we've kind of selected them that make them achievable. We understand that some might involve heading offshore, for example, the barrel tuna and whatnot, and we're not all able to do that. That's fine. But there's something here for everyone, I reckon, ads.
Yeah, for sure. And even those that have never, maybe you've never fished lures and want to try it, start with a prawn style plastic.
Yeah.
The shore jigging thing, this is something I've been doing lots of research on, Luke. It interests me. It intrigues me. I don't know how well it works. I've never done it. It sounds the goods. It's something you can just do for an afternoon or a couple of hours while, the kids are having a nap. Who knows? It could be a thing.
Righto. Well, there it is. The challenge is set, ladies and gentlemen. We want to see your results. What are you doing these holidays?
I had an idea, Luke, of what I was going to do these holidays. And then I completely scrapped it after we just discussed a 8-step checklist.
That's what you're doing this holidays. Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, though, Luke, I've had such a blast putting this podcast together. I am actually going to go through. We keep a record of what we've spoken about on each of these, or each of the questions we've discussed on the podcast to date. I'm actually going to go through that catalogue that we've built up and take some of those things that we ask why not and actually try and find out why not.
Yeah, good.
I actually want to know if prawn plastics are worth it. I want to know if spoon lures still catch fish. Like, I want to know, like, all this stuff. If I'm just going to flick through those last episodes, go, that looks interesting, I'm going to try it. So I'm not necessarily going to go on a specific mission. I want to go down to Gippsland. I'm still going to do that. But I want to base it around what are some of the things we've spoken about that I can come back later, because I'd love to do a recap episode at some point, Luke.
Yeah.
And actually share some of my experiences on what's happened and how it's progressed since we spoke about it on the podcast.
Yeah, nice. That'd be good. And I think we'll have lots of things to cover off on what some of our listeners have been doing too, based on these challenges. So I think there'll be a lot to talk about there. So it might be a big sort of follow-up episode. I love it. Look, there's lots and lots of people that go away this time of year, or they travel around the state, or they go interstate, whatever it is. First thing I want to say is just enjoy it. It's been another big year for everyone. Have some nice relaxing time. Have some great fishing. Travel safe. The roads are always a bit hectic, so be safe. But just have a bloody good break. For me, Ads, I'm sticking around. I'm not really travelling too far, but I am very much looking forward to getting stuck into a couple of these challenges. I really like the look of the micro jigging and the targeting some of the kingfish that are around this area, which I'm very, very excited about. But I keep coming back to that prawn lures one, and I just think it's something. I know there's people listening out there that are going, "Oh, I do it all the time." We've had some awesome feedback from an episode back when we were speaking about it, which has given me a bit of inspiration. I've got some ideas of some of the prawn style lures to go and get. I'm certainly going to lean that way and have a bit of a crack there too, mate, for sure. Tell you what I'm looking forward to just quietly is getting stuck into some of the seafood that's locally and on offer down here, and you can spend a couple of days out and get yourself a smorgasbord. So I might do that. I'm not promising that I'm going to come back, underweight. I'm pretty confident I'll be cracking a few cans pretty early on top of all the food. So I'm just being transparent here, Ads.
Well, we're honest on this podcast, Luke.
We're so honest. Hey, but let's I think there's one thing we can agree on, that it's a great time of year. And we really hope the deep drop here, we really hope that everyone has a great break, a good holiday, gets away if they want to get away, or stays where they are if they want to stay where they are. But ultimately, get out and wet a line. Get out, wet a line, and just enjoy yourself. There's not much more we can say about that, Ads.
No, enjoy yourself. Enjoy the break. Have a good time. Have some fun with the challenges, or don't. It doesn't matter. Just enjoy yourself. Have a couple of cans, and you know what? It's been a good year, but it's been a long year, and I think everyone's deserved a break, and go out there and get amongst it.
Well played. Enjoy, everyone.